17 years have elapsed between Logan and the first X-Men film, in which time just shy of 70 superhero films based upon comic books have been released in theaters. And yet, 2003's X2 X-Men United still firmly remains in my top 10 comic book films of all time. Because even while some in the genre have ascended to greater heights of popcorn fun, and others delve to greater depths of narrative complexity and character richness, few have so consistently captured and deftly delivered memorable and iconic action sequences like Bryan Singer's X-Men films. But why are they so outstanding? What is Singer doing narratively and technically with Nightcrawler's attack on the White House or Wolverine's fight with Lady Deathstrike that few other spectacle directors are even attempting these days? Well, firstly, he gives each sequence narrative significance. Singer is actually using these action sequences to communicate one of the film's central concepts, that being the blindness and rage that feeds warmongering and terrorism. In each sequence, we find an antagonist made blind by the same drug and driven into this rage that forces them to destroy their enemies. And while some directors, after settling on that concept, might execute the scene with shaky handheld camera work, hoping that that style's immediacy and kinetic energy will help the audience experience that rage along with the character, Singer's aim is more layered than that. He understands that even while his audience does desire to empathize with his heroes, seeing in Nightcrawler and Wolverine perhaps their own loneliness and fear, they also want to watch those individuals ascend to heights that can be defined as heroic, or even super-heroic. Singer wants these superheroes to not just show the viewer who they are, but who they want to be, which he further accomplishes through purposeful choreography. In the same way that dialogue can communicate character,
in the Munich circus I was known as the incredible Nightcrawler,
as does a fighting style. We see in Nightcrawler's acrobatics his history in the circus, and in Wolverine's flailing swings his history of dominating his enemies. And we also understand within seconds these mutants' powers, as well as their limitations, a definition that is completely absent in the final conflict of X-Men Origins Wolverine, making every turn in that sequence cheap versus exciting. That said, Nightcrawler's scene isn't solely comprised of acrobatic jumps and Wolverine's haymaker swings. They both have very intentional evolutions, each act building one atop the other, which is one of the primary issues with Iceman vs. Pyro from X-Men 3 or Green Lantern vs. Parallax from Green Lantern. Those scenes just repeat the exact same notes. Blast this guy with ice, blast that guy with fire, throw some green stuff at this guy, throw some yellow stuff at that guy, repeat, 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 and end. And also, unlike Spider-Man vs. Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, X2 doesn't design every other beat to melt our minds with their epicness, ultimately making even the most important of moments anything but epic. Singer builds to that wide, slow-motion money shot. Hiring a talented choreographer aside, Singer also constructs his action sequences in the most visually memorable and engaging ways possible. Firstly, by defining geography. Without us even noticing, the director takes 2.5 minutes to establish Stryker's lab before allowing a single punch to be thrown, which not only orientates us to that space, providing a clearer idea of where the combatants are during the subsequent fight, but also hints at Lady Deathstrike's powers, allowing for a fuller participation and enjoyment in that final reveal. And it's because we know where that boiling adamantium is, having been shown it 8 times throughout the scene, that we, by the fight's end, are screaming along with Wolverine, "Use it!" And it's because shots like this pan instead of cut, or shots like this push through a door, that we clearly understand that Nightcrawler is getting closer and closer to his goal, and therefore feel the mounting tension. Something that Batman Begins' final conflict fails to do. Both the fisticuffs on the train, as well as that train's relation to Wayne Tower, are so muddled that the tension and danger are significantly undercut, which connects directly to another of X2's triumphs: composition. One of the simplest ways that Singer allows his audience to very quickly process the constant motion and ever-changing color and light on screen is by centering the action in the frame. This way, even if the edits are quick, the eye isn't forced to dart around the screen to keep up. Furthermore, he constructs most shots to capture more than one beat, a leap and a kick, a disappearance and a reappearance, which again allows for that greater participation and engagement. A concept that too many superhero films are just allergic to. But it's not just the motion in any one shot that's important, but how that motion connects to the one previous, and the one to follow. Editing. Singer editorially constructs these set pieces like jigsaw puzzles, each shot not only serving its specific choreography, but also perfectly flowing into the next. Quite often he draws the audience's eye to a certain motion, which he then continues in the next shot. And each of these technical achievements combine to give these sequences meaningful stakes, which is foundational to the impact of any action sequence and makes those where the combatants are basically indestructible immensely challenging. See the rather dramaless Zod vs. Superman fight at the end of Man of Steel. But looking back at X2's choreography, composition, and editing, Singer is using every one of those tools to increase the desire, the danger, and the desperation. Lady Deathstrike may not be able to kill Wolverine, but every single time that Singer cuts back to Stryker, he's reminding us of the thing that that character wants most, and that he's getting away. We, along with Logan, are losing that man again. A man with answers. Our answers. And we must fight tooth and adamantium claw to get to him. In the same way, cutting back to the President during Nightcrawler's seemingly unstoppable attack reminds us really who and what is at stake in that scene. And it's for all of these reasons that Bryan Singer's X2 X-Men United remains one of my favorite comic book films of all time. It showcases a storyteller actually adapting the extremely visual medium of comic books visually, using motion, color, and light just as much as dialogue and narrative structure to tell us who his characters are and why they want what they want. And so, even as I doubt that I will ever be able to teleport or grow metal claws, one of the greatest triumphs of a film like this is its ability to make me feel like I know and can be a part of the journeys of those who can. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Obviously, I focused on Bryan Singer's X-Men 2 and the action sequences in that film specifically, but really this director has served up amazing action set pieces in every single one of his X-Men films, all of which are definitely worth checking out and analyzing. I am curious though, in the last 17 years, what have been a few of your favorite action set pieces in comic book films? Definitely comment below and let me know. And before I close things out, I must give a very special shout out to all my patrons over on patreon.com. Your guys' support really is affording me the time to make videos like this. So thank you guys so very much. And to the rest of you guys, even if you can't support me over on patreon.com, please do subscribe. I'm going to continue to review films and television on this channel, and I would love for you to stay up to date on all of those things. But for now, I'm Chris Hartwell. This is The Heartbeat. Thank you for joining me.